Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Sherry Sims, founder of Black Career Women's Network, and thank you for tuning in for another Career Tip Tuesday. It is that time again, so I know all of you are taking your time to come in. When you do arrive, please let us know where you are tuning in from. Makita is actually probably traveling back home today. We had an amazing weekend. We did our Mentor Collective annual event, and it was amazing. So I want to get right into what our topic is for today. I know we have some of you all watching from LinkedIn, also from our Facebook group, and also from our community live. Hi, Christiane. Hi, Kiera in our community. I see you. I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today's Career Tip Tuesday topic is your career is a business. Are you the CEO? Okay. Are you running the show? Are you letting someone else run the show? So I have this philosophy when I talk about don't throw at this, leave your career for chance, like throwing a dart at the wall and hoping that your career will land somewhere. It really is your responsibility to craft your career, be strategic about what it is you want to accomplish, how you want to accomplish it, and being clear about establishing those goals. So I want to jump right into the first tip. And if you see me going back and forth, it's because we have our community watching, and I want to make sure that I shout them out. So hi, Shanique, hello from Texas. I love it. And when you're on LinkedIn, because my LinkedIn crew is ride or die, okay? So you show up, please let us know where you are tuning in from. So today's topic is your career is a business. Are you the CEO? And our first tip for the day is build your personal brand like a product. Now, some of you are probably saying, what does Sherry mean by that? What I mean is, nowadays, when it comes to the trajectory of your career, visibility is important. Being able to showcase your work, show your credibility, and your expertise in your industry. Visibility is a way to do that. So when I have this saying about, you don't just make a name for yourself at your job, make a name for yourself in the industry. Because when you do that, that's how you gain visibility. That's how you become noticed. That's how people that you hear when they say they're sought after, when they never have to apply for a job, they get a call. It's because they're making themselves visible. They're making their expertise and their knowledge known. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to be out there 24/7, but what it does mean is that you need to be strategic about how you showcase your expertise and your knowledge base to the industry that you work in, right? You could be a rock star at your job, but if you leave that job and then you're looking, and then say you get laid off, right? And then you were a rock star at that job, and then it was out of your control, right? Because they just laid people off. Well, you could have been a rock star there, but no one else knows that in the industry. No one else knows that when you're applying for the other job. But if you allow yourself to utilize the tools that are out there to increase your visibility about what you do, others will be able to see that you have the knowledge and expertise for those roles. But it's not just the visibility, it's about building relationships. And we're going to break all this down. So I just wanted to share that tip one is building your personal brand like a product. Who's the product? You're the product. You are the product. You yourself are the product. The knowledge, the skills that you have, you are the product, right? What you bring to the table. Are you the subject matter expert? And not only if you're the subject matter expert, but are you the subject matter expert that's getting results and creating impact in what you do? And you should always be focusing on what your results are and what impact are you creating for whatever industry you're in. What does that look like for you in terms of who supports you in reference to your expertise and knowledge, right? Or what are the outcomes that you're looking for from you being able to share your knowledge and expertise with others? So you are the product, and you protect the product, which is yourself. And we're going to talk more about that too. Now, the tip number 2 is get clear on that's not what I wanted, you guys. How did I get that there? That's not the one I wanted, you guys. Hold on. The one I wanted to hear, that's what happens when you're working too fast, right? Yeah, the one I really wanted to put on here is tracking your ROI for return on impact. That's what I really wanted to put. So I'm going to put that in here real quick and get that out of here because that's not what I wanted. Sorry about that, you all. I want to track you getting your to your ROI. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this. You're going to have to track your wins. Again, it goes back to what I stated in reference to your tracking your return on what you put your time into. So again, you want to make sure that the things that you're putting your knowledge and expertise to, that you're getting the return on impact. Are you seeing results from what you're putting your energy and your time into? So we're not talking about just your job. We know you probably have, goals to meet, KPIs or whatever anyone's think, what their goals are, but you definitely want to track, what are you putting your time into, and are you seeing a return on investment in terms of, is the impact of the outcome from what you're putting your energy and time into, is it working, right? Is it working? And also too, that also means that when you start to increase your visibility and building your brand, are you seeing a return on investment in that, from a return on impact from people calling you and wanting to work with you or partner with you on projects, or maybe want you to be on a podcast, maybe they want you to speak on their platform. And not everybody wants to or is comfortable with being visible that way. And for those of you who are watching are like, Sherry, I don't want to do all of that. That's not my thing. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. Guess what? There are other ways that you can track your return on investment. It doesn't have to be visible where you have to be in front of a camera or front of a mic. But what you can be doing is still sharing your wins on your LinkedIn page, sharing your wins with people in your circle of influence, building your network behind the scenes, right? Your circle of influence or circle of or board of advisors, whoever those people are in your network that you engage with on a regular basis. That can be your place of visibility, because what happens is with that group, you may not be in front of the camera, you may not be on a podcast and all the things, but that group knows what you're up to and what you've been doing, what you've accomplished. And if they are in rooms that can help to move the needle on your career or speak about you in rooms you're not in, that you can leverage. And so again, it's just thinking of being strategic about that, because I don't want anyone to be on here thinking, oh, do I have to do all of those things just to be able to have a return on impact? No, you have to do what's comfortable for you. But I'm going to always say, challenge yourself to push yourself to the next level, because the way that we navigate elevating our careers is so different now than it was 10, 12, even 20 years ago. So you do have to think about the creativity that comes along with that. All right, our next tip number 3 is set quarterly goals. Okay. I can't stress enough how important it is to set goals. You can set monthly goals or quarterly goals, but you need to have some. And I'm not talking about just your goals that you have at work. We're talking about your personal, professional, career goals, right? They could be intertwined. You're going to have your goals, you're going to have to meet your work. But are those goals in relation to elevating your career, right? So this is more, these goals I'm talking about are goals are strategically positioning you for elevation, right? So every month, at the first of the month in Black Career Women's Network in our community, we do what we call purposeful planning, which is we get together. Everybody talks about a reflection of what how their career went last month, and then what goals do you want to set to accomplish for this month. Now, if you want to do this quarterly, we do have an option for a quarterly guide to do that. But at the same time, I always say what we want to make sure we're doing is that we're really celebrating our wins together, that we're cheering each other on, that we're being supportive for what we want to accomplish, but staying clear and focused on specifically everything that we do should be setting us up for the next level of elevation of where we want to go, which means that you should know where you want to be a year from now. You should know where you want to be 3 years from now. If you say, Sherry, I'm good in my career, but I got a few things I need to work on, that's great. But again, everything you should do should be very strategic and positioning you to make sure that you are getting what you need to grow and elevate. I always say everything we should do should keep us marketable and also make sure that it's helping us to increase our income potential. Boom. Those two things absolutely should be on our marker when it comes to thinking about leveling up and moving up in that space. All right. Next, tip number 4 is building strategic partnerships. Now, notice I said partnerships and not relationships. You want to know why I said partnerships specifically? Because CEOs don't move alone. Okay. They identify power players, they identify mentors and allies, people who can open doors for them, co-sign on their credibility, and the relationships of currency. All right. Hint, And the key word here is co-sign. Co-sign on the credibility, right? Those partnerships can do that for you. And so when you think about what that looks like, be very strategic and mindful about that, but genuinely make sure that those partnerships, that you're in it for the right reasons. Again, the bottom line for that is just making sure that those power players are co-signing on your credibility. That's really what that's for. Okay. I want to go back really quickly to setting quarterly goals. I know I jumped a little ahead for that, but I want to come back to that really quickly. And the reason why is that I don't want you to wait. Excuse me, my allergies. I don't want you to wait for your annual review to set these goals. Okay. Again, setting these quarterly goals, quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, quarter four, you can be very specific with these goals. One could be quarter one, I'm going to focus on something for skill building. Quarter two, I'm going to focus on something for networking. Quarter three, I'm going to focus on increasing my visibility and advancement, right? Your growth is your responsibility. And when you're thinking specifically around what that looks like, most of the time we don't have an idea of that. So I just gave you 3 different categories when it comes to setting your quarterly goals and what you can do to set those. So don't think goals in reference to your work goals. You think goals in reference to your brand, who you are, how you want to show up in your career, not just on the job. Okay. So I think that's hugely important to think about when it comes to that career aspect of it. Is more than likely you want to think broader, think bigger, think more around your career, your reputation in the industry, and not just on that job, right? So that to me is where you learn how to start setting goals naturally. When you start to automatically, if you're paying attention to what's going on in your career, you're going to start to feel what's missing. You're going to start to understand what's working and then what you probably need to tweak and work on. So again, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what that means. And then when you're talking about, like when we're going back to talking about tracking your return on impact, when we're talking about those talking about those setting those quarterly goals, you think about the monthly log that you can include in those quarterly goals. Like, what was your impact on the projects you completed, the money you saved, the clients you helped, the systems you improved? How are you as a CEO in your own business, in your brand, running that, right? And because even though you may not have complete 100% autonomy at your job, you do control how you are able to manage that work. Okay, we have a LinkedIn user that says, what are some examples of enhancements? Do you mean enhancement on your work itself? Or are we talking more around the setting the quarterly goal, or building the strategic partnerships? Give me a little bit more detail so I can help to support to elaborate on that. It'll be good. But yeah, I think with the building the strategic with partnerships, again, it goes back to identifying those power players and making sure they can co-sign on your credibility, right? And being very clear on what that looks like. All right, number six, tip number 5. Sorry about that. Invest in development. It's like marketing for yourself, right? When you're investing in your development, we're talking about attending conferences in your industry, obtaining certifications, investing in coaching. All of this should be in your personal marketing budget, right? Smart businesses don't cut and grow through investments, but neither should you, right? They invest in things that are important to them. So you should also be investing in yourself. Now, when it comes to, the partnership, okay, I'll get to that. Investing in development is like marketing for yourself, and it is, because when you start to obtain coaching, you're still broadening your network. If you decide you want to, work with a career coach. If you are going to your industry conferences, you're networking with people, so you're definitely getting knowledge and development from that way. You're investing in yourself. And then when you're looking specifically at your way of certifications in your industry, think about what's happening now, right? People are valuing certifications over sometimes, depending on the industry, depending on the job, depending on the company, they're looking at holding the certifications hold more value than the degree. I'm not saying you go out and don't get your degree, you all. I'm just saying you are have some companies who are valuing those certifications more than they have in the past. So again, when figure out what you need in order to increase your return on impact in your career. All right, so go back to what you had asked about the examples of enhancement when it comes to partnership and marketing and that piece. We're talking about identifying power players and allies who could open those doors or co-sign your credibility. Your network is your network is your net worth. So again, it goes back to you looking at it not just as a connection, but how can you two partner and work with each other? Can you get together and create something outside of the workplace that can be a partnership or a project that can have an impact in the community? So it really is about being strategic and thinking about who you can partner with, where you all can work together and create a project outside of the workplace that can have a larger impact on what you do in the community that helps to increase your visibility and your credibility for what you're doing. Community impact can do a lot for your career if it's positioned the right way. Because people always want to see people investing in their communities. And if you can find a way to do that with what you do, that will instantly boost your credibility and goes back to that, tracking your ROI, return on impact, when you can do that. And community impact work is a great way to do that. Take what you do now and find a way to share that with the community in a project, an event, a workshop, something that can help to see and showcase more of who you are and what you bring to the table. And it looks like you're giving back with your knowledge and expertise. So what I'm doing is just giving you one creative way you can think outside the box that can do that. So I hope that's helpful. And identify someone else that's in your industry who's doing work outside of the workplace as well, that maybe has the same type of values or has the same type of interest in what you have outside of that. But community impact work is a great way to gain visibility, and also connect you to other power players as well. So just thinking outside the box when it comes to your return on impact and how you do that. And then again, that goes back to investing in your developments like marketing, because if you are creative and you decide you want to think about doing something from a community perspective, then that can help as well. She said, what's the best ways to measure community impact? Oh, good way. Well, you want to, just like anything else, you want to establish what those goals are. What outcomes are you looking to create from that specific project, right? Are you looking for, it depends on what you want. So say, for example, if I want to do a workshop, and I want to allow community people from the community come in, and I want to teach them on how to negotiate their salaries, right? And maybe we have two people that are in the room who are up for promotion, or they're looking for a new job, and they're about to get an offer, and they want to be able to position themselves to be able to negotiate that offer. Well, tracking that is being able to follow up, right? Creating the follow up process from what that outcome is. When you do it, create a survey. Anyone participating in your workshop or your community event, if you have a creative way for them to give you feedback from that, you want to measure that. Surveys are a great way to measure outcomes from specific, how people feel about what you just presented, or what they just experienced with what you just had to offer. And that way, and you want to be truthful and ask honest questions in your survey. What did you like the most? What did you like the least? What can we improve on? And then how many, depending on how many people answer that survey, gives you a good way to measure how impactful that that project was for the community. So surveys are a great way to do that. Having roundtable discussions are a great way to also do that as well. So, and then setting those goals. So that's a good way. Couple of ways that you can do that. You might want to also do, I forgot what they call, I don't know why it's like I can't think about it. It's the not feedback sessions, but it is the round tables is where you can get that information as well. So I hope that's helpful too to you. All right, so let's recap the the 5 tips that I shared for your career as a business, and are you the CEO of it? All right, the first one is build a personal brand like a product, and you are the product. Okay, you are the product, you are the brand. Track your return on impact. You want to see who's being impacted by the work you do in a positive way. Set quarterly career goals, and you want to build strategic partnerships, which is number 4. And number 5 is invest in development like it's marketing. I think it's hugely important to invest in yourself, invest in it as marketing. And you may not look at it as marketing. You may look at it, you know what, this is going to level me up. I'm going to get the certification that's going to help me to be more marketable, expand my knowledge base, my credibility, my expertise, in which you will. So again, those are the top 5 tips. And then I have a career smart tip for you all, which is you are the brand, the strategy, and the bottom line. When you think like a CEO, every move becomes a power move. Make decisions that position you to win. All right. That is our career smart tip for the day. And I also have something for you. So I'm going to, this is I know the last couple of, 2 weeks ago, we shared 6 power moves that every Black woman should know in the workplace. And it's a smart guide. And so I'm going to see if I can share this link again with everyone. I did this last week. Not last week, the week before last. And I wasn't sure if I was able to do that. I may just put it up on the guide here to see if I can show it. There it is. That's too long for you guys. But if you screenshot it, type it in, then you can get it. But I don't think I can put it in the link. I'm going to try, but I don't think I can put it in the comments. Let me see if I can. Let's see if it goes. Cross your fingers. Yay, there it is. All right, it's there. All right. So yeah, and I think it's on LinkedIn too. So if it's on LinkedIn, and then I can also share it after our call is done to make sure that you're able to capture it as well. So when we thinking about being the CEO, owning your career, don't throw a dart to the wall and allow people to, really take control of your career. You're the one that can control it. You're the one who can navigate and have things direct things in the direction that you want them to go. And even if you have a boss who you feel like may be stifling you or may not be allowing you to move forward in your career, then guess what? You still got options. You are never stuck. And that's the one thing I always want people to know, is that even when it looks like it's tough where you are and that you feel like you're not moving in your career, you're never stuck. You just have to sit still and think about what are those options that are going to help to move the needle on where it is you want to go. So don't ever feel like you're in a place where, you're stuck, and you can't move and grow in a place that's important to you. Because I always say that if you can't be where you are, there's always a back door, a window, a bay. There's always a different way to get in to where you want to be. So don't ever feel like you are in a place to where you are stuck or feel trapped, because there's always a way to navigate and get through that. All right, I'm going to wrap this up again with the Career Smart tip, just in case you didn't see it. You are the brand, the strategy, and the bottom line. When you think like a CEO, every move becomes a power move. Make decisions that position you to win. Okay? Make decisions that will position you to win. And that's why I always call it a career smart tip, because when you're making career smart moves, that means you're making smart decisions to help you to elevate yourself in the career that you thrive to be in, or the career that you're in that you want to continue to grow in. So again, I hope this is helpful. And if this is your first time watching, you can go to our website and check us out and learn more about Black Careers Network, or you can download our app at the Apple Store or Google Play if you want to get connected into our community, and also some of the resources that we have within our platform. So again, I want you all have an amazing rest of your work week, and we will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.